Well, my name is Eric Thompson, and I'm a Kabbalah instructor. I'm also one of the people that brought the mystery school to Brazil. I teach the releasing your negative emotions. I teach building wealth, galactic activation, lots of other classes. I came to the school in 2008. I was going through a period of my life where I was just not doing well. I was always a reaction of everything that was happening in the world. If I was having a good day, I was great. And if I was having a bad day, I was down. I think, a lot of people, you know, identify with that. And we think that that's normal and that's like being a human. And I lived like that for 44 years. And then one day I couldn't stand being with myself, and other people were around me were really not liking, the way I was. And for the first time in my life, I decided I needed to do something differently. And then what happened is, I remember I went to my room and I sat there and I looked at the floor and I thought, I got to do something. I can't keep blaming, the presidents and this person and that group for how I was feeling. I had to do something. There must be something I could do. I was an engineer. I was an electronic engineer, and I felt like, as a lot of engineers do, that life is logical and you can, try to figure it out with the mind. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go do something. My mom was, she was really into like holistic magazines, and she had taken me to a bunch of different places, like astrology and sociology and spiritism and just all the ologies and all the isms I had gone to, right? And eventually, so I grabbed one of those holistic magazines and I looked through it and I found something that I thought would work. And I pointed at it and said, that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be one session, and then my life's going to be magically different. And, from an engineer point of view, I really didn't want to work on myself. I didn't think that I needed to work on myself. I didn't really want to do yoga. I didn't want to do meditation. I just wanted to magically make everything, work. And I know that, of course, that's not how things work. That when you start that process, you do have to look at yourself and you have to face, your responsibilities. So I did the session and it was in a chakra alignment and I felt really, really good. And then what I did is I decided that I wanted to, it took me to a crystal store. And this crystal store, I read about the life activation, which at the time was called the DNA activation. And I did that, and then within a week I had done the Empower Thyself class. And then my eyes opened up to whole new possibilities, where before I was only seeing my life this way. All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, there's like so much more to life than what I was living. Even though I was working in Hollywood at the time. So I was working with Al Pacino, Nicolas Cage, Marlon Brando, all these people like daily, like we're sitting here today. And I made good money. I had the house, I had the BMW and the Mercedes. I had all the physical things that someone would say is a success, but I didn't know myself. I didn't know who I was. I had no idea that I was something beyond this physical, which I would call today spiritual. And the mystery school actually helped me to be able to, awaken to other possibilities. And one of the things that really drew me to the mystery school, it was very grounded, and it wasn't about a bunch of woo-woo stuff that you just had to believe in and follow somebody. That you had to, you got tools and you were told to, try them for yourself, and if it works, then use them. And I thought that's great. No one was telling me that I needed to do anything specific, and so I started using the tools. And as I used the tools, I started seeing them working, right? And so I started applying the tools in my life, helping my family, my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, applying, classes or healings and things that helped. And then I started noticing I was changing and becoming different. And I was like, I want more of this. I can't stop. I want to just, what's next? What's the next thing? And I just started, doing everything that was possible, even though it might not make sense here. Like, oh yeah, that's going to really help me to do this. I just knew that it was working and I was seeing results. And as an engineer, I want to see results. And if it's not giving me results, I don't want to waste my time with it. So that's basically how it started. Well, I remember that one of my teachers, he said that he had never planned to be a teacher. that he had a background of like engineering and, logical mind, rational mind, and all that. And so he said, he never really planned to be a teacher. And when I started, I wanted healing for me. I wanted to make my life better. But as I started doing that, it just awoke something up inside me. So I was the student and I was walking this path, right? And it started showing and opening up things to me, because we talk about mystery school, like what's a mystery? And a mystery is just something that's unknown to you at the time, because there's things that we know, there's things that we don't know, and there's things that we don't know that we don't know. And those things, right? How are you going to know what you don't know if you don't walk a path and then you're learning certain things about yourself? Like you have an aura, you have an energy structure, you have this and you have that. And as I would walk, those mysteries became just realities to me, became things that I could, trust, because I practiced and I tried doing it. So I would say you're never really stop being a student. You're always a student because you're always growing. And so we're always trying to get better and trying to make ourselves, have more knowledge and understanding and wisdom. And, and how that happened, it just kind of just happened, Ruthie. It just started to open up. I just stopped wanting to do the thing with the actors and working in sound. I mean, I worked on a lot of movies, Iron Man, 300, a lot of big movies in Hollywood. And it just wasn't filling my soul, right? Whatever someone might want to call their soul, but it wasn't making me feel realized. I didn't really feel fulfilled. And then as I started walking this path, I just slowly started doing something else, because it was the only thing I could really do. It just became like, this is what I should do. And this knowing just came to me. It wasn't like somebody told you, because nobody tells you to do anything. We never tell anybody that this is what you do. We show different options that someone can then choose from, because we all have choice. And as you make that choice, you start saying, well, what I was doing wasn't serving me anymore, so I'll try something else. When I was living in Los Angeles, I was working with these famous actors. And when you work in that type of environment, whatever environment you work in, you usually kind of adapt to that environment. So understand, I'm working with people that make millions and millions of dollars, but I wasn't making millions of dollars. I was really well paid. So the world of ego, there's a lot of ego, right? I mean, people that are always being waited on hand and foot, it's really easy for that to go to your head. So, I was also treated that same way too. So my ego got really, really big. And so that dissatisfaction and always wanting something else, like the different car or a different, bigger house and all those things, which is great. I mean, we live in a physical world. We do want these things. But my life was starting to be defined by some of these things. I wanted the nice car because I wanted to show that I had a nice car to whoever. And so what happened is basically I decided, well, what I could do to have even more ego and make more money is I could open up a nightclub. So I thought, I'm going to go to Brazil. My wife at the time was an architect, right? And she's a leader in the school now. And she was an architect, and she actually made the project for me to open up, because this is before the mystery school, to open up a nightclub. So I went to Brazil, I found investors, I found all of this, and came back, and then I said, yeah, I found the investors, let's move to Brazil, let's go. And she was all, yeah, okay, sounds good, but I want to do my master's degree. So I want to do my master's degree, and I'm like, okay, how long is that going to take? Well, it's going to take 1.5 years, 2 years. And of course, I was ready to go, because as I told you before, I was a reaction to everything. I wanted to run away. I was not happy in my life, even though I had all this amazing life. So I had to stay for 1.5 years. And that's when, after 1.5 years, I found the mystery school. When I got to the bottom of, I don't know what you call it in English, the bottom of the barrel, I was basically like hit bottom. I was down, I was depressed, and just not seeing a way out. And that's when I found the mystery school. So we always find some of the greatest things when we're in our worst places sometimes. So then the mystery school happened, and then I awoke into this other possibility of who I was and what I could be, and then that was not interesting anymore to me. And so then I thought, okay, what I want to do is I want to, bring these teachings to Brazil. We thought that we wanted to bring these teachings to Brazil. So we made a whole new plan and decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, take it down to Brazil and open Brazil. And it all started with one life activation, right? Or two life activations. And there was a whole country where no one had been life activated. And so it started with one, and another. Actually, a lot of them were Divina Lisa's family members in the beginning, because you usually go to family, right, when you start doing that. And then, they recommend someone else, and then next thing you know, hundreds, if not thousands of people were activated and then initiated over the last, 12, 13 years. It's a thriving headquarters. I think there are close to 2,000 initiates in Brazil. And since 2013, we've had programs twice a year, with all sorts of courses that open to Brazilians and open to people from all over the world. A program is actually an amazing opportunity for people to be able to feel the energy of the Modern Mystery School. Because, as teachers, we have a lot of individual teachers, right? And we learn how to teach certain classes, sacred geometry, astral travel, and a number of classes. You get a flavor of the mystery school, right? But when you bring together a lot of people, right, that are all seeking what we would call the light, seeking, higher knowledge, seeking, healing, seeking, joy, and this type of thing, something happens synergistically, right? When you bring a bunch of people together that are like-minded and are looking for similar things, even though everybody is an individual and has their own path. When we all come together, there's magic that happens. So basically, magic, we say, is turning something, nothing into something, or something into something else. So wherever you are at that point, when you're in that energy of all these people and these teachers that have amazing knowledge and different perspectives, because everyone has their own perspective, way of teaching, and the way of sharing how this happens. And sometimes you identify with one more than another. You can magically grow in a short period of time. And I use the word magic. I know people misunderstand magic and think, well, magically, like it just happened. But we know that, luck, what people would call luck, is really just preparation, meeting opportunity, right? So magic is something that we do every day. When you go into a kitchen, when in relationships, you're taking something and you're adding an egg with flour and, milk, and then you're making a cake out of it. So we're doing magic every single day. And so when you bring everyone together, this happens, and it's an amazing experience. I can tell you, because I've been doing this since 2009, and it's amazing. And Brazil's just growing exponentially. Yeah. I remember specifically sitting in Portland in a class, and this was when I was a student. This was literally in the beginning, probably maybe 6 months after I started. I remember going to one of these programs, and I remember sitting there, and I remember looking at the panel, and I remember saying, oh my God, they just know so much. I don't think I'll ever get to that level. Like that person, I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that person or this person. And you know what? It may be true that you're not going to be like that person because you're your own person and you have your own individuality. So, but that you can achieve that level or more is amazing. And that's what in the mystery school, these leaders and these teachers, that they've just walked the path a little bit longer than some of the other individuals that start the path. So we can always attain and strive beyond where they are, or at least to there or beyond. We're never taught that you're never going to be anything like this. You're taught that anything is possible. And our mind limits us that, well, it's not possible because, we really don't think too much of ourselves a lot in the beginning, right? But it is great to see everybody, growing, and every day I see even those same teachers or even my colleagues, or myself, and look and say, oh my God, a year ago, I've grown so much since that time, and even now, you know that in a year you're going to not even recognize yourself again because of the growth that you're going to see. And to me, that's amazing. For me, it's the reminder of where I was in before 2008, that I had all these things, what people would call success, yet I was unhappy. I was, really not happy at all. Yet we think that that's normal. We think that's just the way that we live. And when I look back at that point, and then I look at where I've come from and what I've gone through and all the adversities that I've gone through, and the fact that if I got through this, then you can get through this. Because I mean, my story, I didn't go into depth with it, but it's a victory. I mean, a huge victory of where I was to where I am now, as far as my joy. And joy is not about like, yay, this is amazing, oh my God. It's not like that. But it's also not like, the opposite of that. It's just like this contentment with wherever you are at the time, being present here and feeling good now, independently of if, you broke my favorite crystal or you broke my camera or something. Then you might not be happy, but the joy, you can't take away from me. And to me, that is something that lives inside. And if I can help share how that's possible, guide that to you as to how you can make that happen, for yourself, the way, just because we've walked the path and we kind of know the way, but each path is individual. And so if I can help you to waken up to that, it gets me up out of bed every day, because the world is not in a good place. It's really not in a good place. And people have become complacent of that's just the way it is. But it's up to us to be able to make it the way that we want it to. I mean, we have that, we would call maybe a cliche, be the change you want to see in the world. But it's not a cliche. If you want the world to be different, you need to be different. It starts with you. You can't fix the world. You need to fix you first, and then the world will change. You can't overcome the mind with the mind. So I'm not going to be able to convince you from my mind to your mind. So, like I said before, we are spiritual beings, like in a physical body, right? So if we can connect, if I can connect with your soul, with who you truly are, your essence, who you are, and you can recognize that for even 10 seconds. Sometimes it's just looking in your eyes and just seeing and connecting with you, because no one's connected with you in years. Maybe you've been married for 30 years and no one's really looked in your eyes, never really felt you and listened to you. And if you can awaken that little piece, it starts a spark within the person to want to know more. Now, I can't give that to you. You need to have that through a direct experience. So a lot of our classes, well, all of our classes, is about you having a direct experience. It's not a theoretical, here's the theory on what that means. And no, there's always a little theory, and then we always put into practice. So everything we do is about practice and about you having a direct experience, because how could you ever explain spirit to somebody? I mean, you have to feel that, because if not, it's just this abstract concept of what it is. If you've never been in love, how are you going to know what love is? How are you going to explain that? Well, love, my son, is when this happens and you feel this. Well, maybe that's your explanation of what love is, but it might be what love is to you. Just like respect. What's respect to you? Respect to you might be looking in the eyes, and maybe to me it's, a compliment or something completely different. What I see is that leadership are brothers and sisters that have just walked the path a little bit more than others. Everyone in leadership has started as a student. Nobody was elected to that position. Nobody was hired into that position. Everything has been earned through your work, through your own results, through doing and through service, right? And serving would be helping that person to understand who they truly are as a divine being. And so as we do that, your understanding, or what we call your power and authority, I know sometimes that has a negative connotation, those words, but it comes through you serving. It comes through you helping people. And so, you become a leader because you've helped a lot of people. And if I'm not helping people, I really wouldn't want to be a leader, because, that's what I'm doing. So a leader leads by example, right? That's what a leader does. He's not a manager. He's not ordering people what to do. He's actually living that. And if someone's living that, if they carry with that flame, if they carry that, ideal of what it is, then people can aspire to be that. So these people are people that I look up to. They're people that have helped me on my path. They're people that are 100% committed to this path and helping the world become a better place. The Third Order, Founder Goodney, Ipsissimus Dave, Ipsissimus Hedetto, have been instrumental in my, what I'd call my awakening, which means me awakening to who I truly was, because what I believed myself to be was not who I really am. And you really can't understand that until you start to walk a path to know yourself, because it's about you knowing yourself. These people have dedicated their lives. They have traveled to Brazil. They've traveled all over the world during, birthdays, Mother's Day, children's birthdays, things that most people wouldn't give up in their life, to help people. And I could just go on and on about that, but I am truly thankful in my heart for Founder Goodney bringing this to the world, and for the other Ipsissimus for bringing this and taking it forward, each in their own way. And the Council of 12, the Divinas, bringing that element of what is the divine feminine and really living it, not from a mental concept, but from living what it truly means to be. And that's the thing I think that the Mystery School has done. It allows us to become authentic. It allows us to become who we truly are. It doesn't teach you to be like somebody else, but it awakens your true nature, because every single person, I really believe this, everybody has a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a little piece of what are we doing here on this planet? What's your piece? What is your legacy? What are you bringing here? And everyone has this. And sometimes maybe people won't discover that. But if you can bring an opportunity where people can discover this, to me, there's nothing more special than that, because where else are you going to discover this? So the Divinas, right, what we call the Goddess Council, they are, like I said, they are women that represent the divine feminine, but these are women that are so strong. These are women that are empowered. We're talking about architects, we're talking about entrepreneurs, we're talking about doctors, and we're talking about, very successful people that could do anything that they wanted, and the physicists, right? Do anything that they wanted in their life and have achieved so much, and they have decided to come and serve in this mystery school to help people to be able to awaken to their divinity and to awaken to whatever their true purpose is in their life. And these are women that I so respect, and that are extremely intelligent and extremely powerful.